Hi, Rich Carrubba for bowlingball.com. Let's talk about the question you may have asked yourself since you're kind of a new bowler or you're just really getting serious about the game and you're getting your own equipment and you notice that the bowling ball that you throw has lost some of its capability and ball motion. Well, you want to know, is your bowling ball used up? So let's address that issue. You can see the dead ball syndrome because after you roll a bowling ball and after it gets a lot of oil soaked up into the pores of the ball from constantly rolling over the surface of the lane, particularly where the oil exists on the front end of the lane, after it picks up dirt, after it picks up skid marks from or smudges from the pin setter unit and ball return unit, all those things, and after a while, maybe after 60 games, your bowling ball will appear to be used up. It won't have the same ability to react consistently as it did when you drilled it first out of the box brand new. So there's a few tips that you can do, and the pro shops offer these services to help you. Some bowlers will actually buy their own grit pads, Abralon grit pads for example, and polishes and cleaners, and they'll try to keep the bowling ball cover stock prepared and ready to go the best they can to prolong how often they need to get into the pro shop and use those services to restore the capability of the ball reacting like it did when it was new. But here's some of the boiled down versions of things that you can do, some useful combinations of screening your ball to react in accordance with perhaps the given lane conditions you encounter most frequently. First of all, if you use a very low grit pad to screen the surface of the ball, like a 500 grit, that's going to cause the ball to read the lane extremely early. That helps it fight all the heavy oil on the front end of the lane if you're having trouble getting the ball to hook. This usually works on these heavy patterns, and it works basically in direct angles. If you're a speed dominant player, if you have a lot of ball speed or you don't hook the ball a lot, the power players can open the lane up more with a wider angle down the lane to the break point. But that 500 grit will work well for you if you needed the ball to bite and read the lane in heavy oil. There's another process that you can use to give you just a little bit more length potential than just using the 500 grit alone, and that is you use 360 grit, very, very rough surface texture pad, but over it, you rescreen over it with 1000 grit, which is slightly finer than the 500 grit original pad that we talked about. And this will give you a little bit more length, but still sufficient friction to fight the oil. Next, you can use, or you could use a 500 grit, 2000 grit combination screening procedure in order to give you, and that's kind of a benchmark procedure, it gives you enough topography on the ball surface to generate friction in medium to light oil conditions, but not enough to cause the ball to read the lane so early that it'll hook unpredictably and much sooner than you would like it to be. And finally, to give yourself more skid, you can put a 500 grit and then 4000 grit over it. The reason we use this lower grit first and then put a milder grit texture over the top of it is to rough up the surface enough to give it traction and then screen off the top edges of the little peaks on the urethane if you were to look at the ball under a microscope, and that'll increase or decrease the skid as you need to match to the lane conditions. So 500, 4000 grit works well on multiple patterns. It gives you easy length in the front end of the lane, a noticeable mid-lane reaction, and then of course it gives you a really good amount of friction from the break point to the pocket on the back end of the lane. So you can generate some of the strongest angle of entries preparing a ball with simply 500 to 4000 grit. Angle of entry being from the break point to the pocket. Okay, some of these methods will help. You can vary them slightly. You can do the work yourself. You can get into the pro shop. Your pro shop operator can be your best ally because you can keep those ball surfaces prepared. You should get in and resurface the ball every 60 games. We recommend you get your own polishes and cleaners so you can at least clean the surface of the ball with a hand pad, a microfiber sponge pad, for example, and your own cleaner. We have those available here at our site. They're available at every pro shop in the country. So you can keep the dirt and the oil and clean off the ball after you use the ball, after each session on the lane. There are even polishes and cleaners you can use during competition. You just need to read the bottle. And the United States Bowling Congress approves them for use during competition. So there's no reason you can't prolong your visits to the pro shop if you do a little work yourself. We hope some of this information helps you. Knowing a little bit about lane conditions, about bowling ball surface preparations, and about maintenance procedures will help you wake up that dead bowling ball, and it will no longer be used up. It'll help you to save money before you have to reinvest in other products. Hope this helps. Thank you.